everybody! Welcome to Let's Look at Full Bore Into Hard Earth. Full Bore is a game I've been hearing about for a little while, maybe the past year and a half or so, and I played a little bit of it. It's a block-moving puzzle game with Metroidvania elements where you play as a boar that does some digging. It's noteworthy because this is now coming out on Steam, and as I understand it, it's a little bit of a director's cut edition of maybe the original game. So if you played the original game, you might be familiar with this, but maybe there's some new content or refinements going on. I didn't play the original game, so I'm not 100% sure. And I know a lot of people have very fond thoughts, fond sentiments for Full Bore. I played about an hour and a half so far, and, you know, that is 5% through the game. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is probably not a 25-hour game. I've just been stuck on one puzzle for, like, literally 45 minutes of that 90 minutes. I've been having a hard time getting into it so far. I'm going to talk a lot about positives, negatives, and then things that are kind of in the middle. But do keep in mind that this is out on Steam now. If you like what you see, you can go check it out. We're going to start a new game because I'd rather, you know, play a little bit of a new game and show off a lot of the things that I like about the early game, especially of the game, rather than just immediately, like, making some terrible mistakes and just derping around on the same puzzle forever. So we have the option when we start. We can play as either Frederick, who is still a boar, or Hildy, who is also still a boar. We're going to play as Hildy. And as you can see, the game's got a neat art style. Kind of looks a little bit like Terraria or something like that, but a little bit more pixel arty, if you will. We are a boar, and as a boar, we don't really have that many abilities. We have a few. We can dig. I don't know if I can dig that out. Maybe they haven't told us or, you know, taught us the dig power up yet. We can fall. We're very good at falling. Prepare for falling to happen quite a lot. We can't jump. That is an integral part of the whole endeavor here. But what we can do is actually climb. But before we climb, we are going to fall. And, you know, this game has a lot of similarities to some other games that I've covered fairly recently on the channel. It is not overly dissimilar from a game like SteamWorld Dig. SteamWorld Dig was kind of like a Metroidvania type spelunking adventure thing with some action RPG elements. This seems to have less action RPG side going on. And the actual puzzles themselves, at least when they're self-contained, are not dissimilar to Scapegoat 2. And this is going to be kind of a negative start to the video, but I do think that I preferred both SteamWorld Dig and Scapegoat 2 to what I have played of Full Bore so far. But there is some stuff to like here, and I think it's the kind of thing that maybe is just not for me, because I know that this game has or the original game had at least a small community of people that really, truly loved it. So, we are, again, playing as Hildy here. These kind of pods that you can find here basically represent kind of checkpoints, so if we die, we'll respawn at these. These are like boar reanimation chambers, if you will. So, to get through the tutorial, we have some early mechanics that we will learn here. Digging, very important, probably the most useful skill that we will use over the course of the entire game. Dropping down, also important. This is one of those games where, beyond just doing like block moving puzzles, your overarching goal is largely just to get to the end of the level. We can also climb, by the way, as you can see by using the right trigger there, for example. But yes, you know, we want to get to the end of the level, we want to activate switches and things like that, and we want to push crates in order to make that happen. That's where the Scapegoat comparison comes in. Now, one of the complaints I would like to offer about the game that has been a little bit cumbersome for me is the way that you can kind of climb things is fine, but visually, sometimes I find it very difficult to see where you can actually climb and where you can stand on, because you know, it seems weird to me in a, you know, and once you play it for like half an hour, you totally get it. Just keep in mind, this is a little first impressions complaint, if you will. But you can stand on these. You can also fall through them, if you so choose, these blocks right here. But you can also, like, vault into them, but that's in spite of them having, like, solid surfaces. I mean, it took me a while to wrap my head around it, if you will. Now, there is also definitely the possibility to put yourself in a fail state, so they've included a rewind function, which allows you to basically go back as far as you would like. Now, I'm trying to remember. Oh, we learned the stomp move here. So the stomp actually allows us to break sand and, like, light dirt blocks, basically. And the stomp is an extremely important move. It doesn't break mud, as you can see, or clay, whatever you would want to call this. And again, like, areas like this, I think it's just to me that, like, these blocks, I can't decide if they feel like they're more in the background or, like, in the foreground. Because it feels like holding right trigger to climb these things is like switching dimensions. Anyway, maybe that's just me, but I have spent some time talking to some other people who've been playing Full Bore. In particular, I've been talking to Mathis, who I do my Crusader Kings 2 stuff with, and we both have had kind of, like, minor interface complaints, but that's stuff that, you know, once you figure it out, is relatively good to go. So I put myself in a pretty terrible state here. Another thing that's kind of a minor complaint, and I think you'll see it here, and it does go with the kind of visual style again. I feel like the puzzle elements are not always clear. Like, if you look at this, This to me looks like a 1 block high, 2 block wide block. But as we push it here and it falls down, like, it doesn't seem to make sense to me that that block, which is larger than this hole, can actually fall down this hole. But maybe that's due to the dimensionality of the game. It's a deliberate design choice, I'll give it that, but I think maybe we can use the stomp here? No. Have I made some kind of terrible mistake? Oh, I can just drop down here and then push this over. Got it. And again, you know, it's confusing, but also that's part of the charm of the puzzles, is that you can use these as either a platform to vault on top of, or you can drop down behind it, and then use it to push forward. These gems, by the way, are a currency that we will be using in the game. I haven't really been able to use them effectively so far, but they do make up kind of the crux of the conceit of why we are doing all this digging. So, again, this block to me looks like it's not possible to actually fit through this hole. I might be the only person who thinks that, but I think that the visual elements of the puzzles are not always clearly displayed, and that's always frustrating, especially because the puzzles are actually, like, fairly difficult so far, at least from what I've played. I've been having a real hard time, a real devil of a time, to put it in a more old-fashioned-y way, of actually finishing a lot of these puzzles, especially self-contained rooms that require a lot of forethought. And even with the rewind button, you'd be surprised how often I spend here. Mind you, if you're better at these kind of puzzles, if you're into these kind of games like the Swapper, Scapegoat, if you're really good at them, I would maybe say that the difficulty will be lower for you. But I'm a dumb animal, so that's where I come in on it. What I do like about the game is that it does tell the story in kind of this, it's a little cliche at this point, I guess, but telling a story through terminals that you just find in the level. But it's kind of nice as well, so... This is from the site director. He says, "We can't triangulate the source from here, but that means one of two things. It's very strong or it's very close. Our last rocket is being prepped to take detection equipment far away so we can finally get some answers. You know you live in strange times when it's easier to send something in orbit than it is to travel a few dozen miles over land." So, ooh, what could that mean? Very mysterious. I'm still a sucker for kind of like stories told through primary accounts like that, as opposed to, well, not necessarily as opposed to, but, you know, in contrast to things like cutscenes or, you know, just... You know, my least favorite kind of storytelling is definitely when, you know, you open a game and it just has, like, comic book style frames and then, like, somebody voicing over top is thousands of years ago in Dranglaced. And then I'm accidentally describing Dark Souls 2 here, which actually does have full cutscenes most of the time, so disregard me. So, now that we've taken that rocket, that represents, you know, sort of the end of the tutorial. And another thing I want to mention about the game is that I compared the game visually to Terraria a little bit earlier. I quite like the visual style. I think the game's got a lot of charm. I think, you know, the music's okay. The visual style is really good. When you see characters especially. Like, I think this Gulin Bursty character looks pretty cool. I'm not saying I would necessarily want to get, you know, a quilt made out of this sprite, but it does look neat. That's the door to the vault. I'm gonna voice over him. I should use my standard alien voice. Thief! Brigand! Empty your pockets! Oh! How unsophisticated. That's the Underpants Gnome voice. I got it wrong, but that's okay. You haven't gotten these, talking about gems. I so apologize for the Steam overlay, by the way. You're only carrying a single gem? Clever. You must have hidden the rest. In that case, you are to work in my mines until you replace every single gem of my considerable fortune. Nothing like hard work to inspire honesty. That and the interest I'm charging you. Enough chatter. Our four-bore Dean will set you straight. He's the grizzled fellow outside. So we'll go find him. We can't speak, so I guess we're just going to have to take our punishment basically on the chin. But that sets the stage for the story. I quite like the design visually of these areas as well. Like the broken down mining company where you can tell that sign hasn't been replaced forever because maybe things are tough over here. So what does Dean have to say? Rolling boulders. I heard the shouting from all the way out here. Mr. Bursty caught you red-hooved, did he? Still plenty of gems for you to find in the mines, and that vault needs refilling one way or t'other. Day shift's already started, you best get down below. And, of course, we were gonna fall again. There's an awful lot of falling that happens here. Oh, I actually didn't know that we could actually control the camera like that. That actually is pretty helpful. So, again, as mentioned, the game is a Metroidvania. You may not necessarily see it just yet, but we're gonna need to use all of the tools at our disposal in order to get all the way through this mine. Thankfully, we're getting gems as well. I haven't had an opportunity to use the gems for anything yet, and again, I have put in 80, 90 minutes into this so far, but I've seriously been stuck on a lot of the puzzles I've encountered. I think we can break this block if we just dig downward, which is why I think maybe the game hasn't opened up to me yet. And you might be saying, well, that's not due diligence then. I disagree. This is the first puzzle platformer I've played in a long time, and I play a decent number of them, which has just been too difficult for me to necessarily progress in, to the point where I can maybe even get past the tutorial stages. And I think that is, you know, genuinely something that deserves to be mentioned in discussions about the game's quality. Again, that is one of those things where for sure I will say your mileage may vary. I also think that sometimes it's a little bit unclear, and again, this is a visual thing, which blocks can be broken and which blocks can't be broken. This block apparently cannot be broken. This block, on the other hand, can be broken. I think if I go on top of it and start digging, yeah. And look at the, I mean, there is a visual difference between them, but if I had to say anything, I mean, this crate actually looks stronger. It's got like these iron edges or something going on it. It's copper rimmed or reinforced, whereas this one's just made out of plain old wood, but I can't dig through it. So, again, these may strike you as very, very minor complaints, but they have proved to make the game a little bit, seem we can get through stone, but not wood, apparently, but they've served to make the game a little bit more frustrating than I would like, a little bit harder to get into. And when I talk to Mathis, and I hope I'm not selling him out. I hope, like, after I do this video, he doesn't do his video, and he's like, I really like this game. If so, well, it's not fair for me to tell Mathis what his opinions are. So I'm just telling you what we talked about. We both kind of had exactly the same thoughts on the game, which was like, seems neat, but it's been very, very hard to get into. It's just, something's a little off about it, and I do think it's that the game doesn't necessarily do the best job of communicating what are actually, like, interactable puzzle elements and what are not. So this is another personal log. Initial findings are good, but there are some anomalies I'd like to see explained. The whole damn thing is barely understood. I mean, these taps nearly undermine our current understanding of physics. Can we believe what we see? Curiosity is a good trait for a scientist, but digging deeper without understanding the basis of our observations is a recipe for disaster at worst and empty promises at best. So, as is very, very common in indie puzzle platformers, this is about science, maybe going a little bit too far. So as I understand it, there are kind of primary objectives and secondary objectives that we have going on here. Our primary objective is, you know, complete the game. There are some puzzles that are going to be essential for that, and some puzzles that are going to be, you know, optional for that, shall we say. And what I'm going to try to do is get as many gems as possible, which is another secondary objective of mine, is to get as many gems as possible. I don't know why yet. I mean, I know why. It's to repay the amount of money that I supposedly stole from the foreman or the owner of this mine, but all I know is that I'm getting them because, hey, these are things in the environment that I want to collect. Maybe they're meaningful later. Maybe you can use them to actually buy upgrades, but I would actually have to complete some puzzles in order to make that a possibility. So, I think for now, we're just going to keep digging deeper and deeper over here. And again, this area to me kind of looks like it's blocked off, but in actuality, that scaffolding is totally traversable. And I think some of it comes down to there just not being a jump button, which I can understand from a design perspective, but I don't know, that feels a little weird to me too. I hesitate to come up with concerns like that because I'm not a game designer or a game developer, so I say like, oh, they should have added a jump button. I'm sure that somebody out there is like putting their fucking head in their hands like, this idiot, you have to like redesign the entire game. I will say that using the right trigger to climb things doesn't really strike me as that satisfying. Then again, I have never seen a board jump, so maybe this is just an immersion thing. So, we have a map, and the map is one thing I wanted to talk about. I have had some problems with navigation in this game, and I think looking at the map might explain why that is. It's not as bad as it looks. I mean, you can only zoom in like 2 directions here, which is a little bit unfortunate, or like 2 magnifications here, which is a little unfortunate, because you really can't see fine detail for a level, unless I'm missing something here. I'm using the zoom button. But the game does actually do a pretty decent job of telling you how areas connect to one another, which is important, but compared to the map and something like, I don't know, another Metroidvania along the lines of Guacamelee or something like that, Cave Story, you know, having a good map in a Metroidvania is important because you're going to be doing backtracking all the time, and this map, I don't know if it necessarily provides enough detail. Then again, I haven't found myself having to backtrack too much because I just pretty much exclusively lose at the puzzles that I face, and because we have no jump, we are just going to fall down here. So now we have reached kind of the gamey part of full bore, at least in my experience so far. So we can enter these chambers, and sometimes these chambers lead to puzzles. Sometimes they lead to puzzles where we can get gems. Sometimes they lead to puzzles where we get quest items and stuff like that. And sometimes they just lead to other big areas that have other puzzle rooms connected to them. So we do have to, I mean, the game tutorializes it well, which I actually appreciate a lot. And some people might say it's overly tutorialized. But I did spend a lot of time being like, why can't I push this? Why can't I push this? And the game is like, use the stomp button, you idiot. So, of our abilities, you know, we have directional digging and climbing and stomping, basically. Stomping is our kind of method of choice against sand, and then everything else, we basically just have to push blocks in such a way. Yeah, we want to fall here. We want to push blocks in such a way that we can actually get to the end of a level. And thankfully, we did get a checkpoint system there. I don't think we can push this. Let's see. Oh, we can actually disregard. So this will actually create a series of platforms for me. Oh, you know what? There's probably... Not probably. There's definitely a better way through here. At least there's probably a better way to start with that would actually allow me to get this gem. Oh, we can actually just break through that stone. Again, it's so weird to me that some wood blocks are unbreakable, but the stone is not. But I guess you just get used to it after a while. Alright, let's push this platform in. And I do also think, and maybe I'm just missing the point here. I like to hedge my bets a little bit with stuff like this. But I think a lot of the puzzle so far, I think I can dig through this rock. Is that true? No, not even close. I found kind of imbalanced in the sense that I don't pay attention to what I'm doing a lot of the time. Like in a room like this, I'm basically just like trying to get to the exit. And it's very easy to kind of finish that up. By the way, you get a sweet like effect here. Once you've dug enough, you dig a lot faster. But at the same time, some other rooms have left me stumped for like 15, 20, 30 minutes. Well, only one room for 30 minutes, but yeah, and I don't know. It seems like there's a big difficulty spike, at least on one room in particular that maybe we're going to come across in a little while here. I think I might have to rewind. Oh, no, you know what? We just stomp. And then that gem actually comes to us. I guess we just have to free the gems. And by actually connecting a power block to a laser block like this, this will shoot the laser and maybe allow us to get that other gem without even having... Yeah, we don't have to actually work for it either, which is nice. Then we can just... Oh, we can't dig through the laser. How do we get back up then? Maybe like this, and maybe we can then push the laser out of the way? We'll see. Hopefully you can see by this point, it's not a perfect comparison to say that this is a lot like Escape Go 2, or to say that this is Escape Go 2, but it's very, very similar in many ways, the way that you're trying to create a path that actually allows you to get to the exit. So, and again, this is another one where it's like this room's called Impasse, and it's like, hello, somebody, is some boar back there? We just had a cave-in. This seems hopeless, but don't panic. I'm sure help is on the way. They've taught us to stomp so many times by now that it seems like kind of a very easy puzzle, which I actually appreciate because, thank God for getting one. You made it out safe? How did you manage that? I was scared out of my skull. How rude of me to not introduce myself. I'm Macaron. I manage the elevator. However, the elevator isn't exactly working at the moment. Please don't tell Dean, though. He'll have my hide, and that means that we just continue to fall. And we can do this, you know, sweet little dipsy-doodle in the air as we fall. And we can see what's going on in these areas as well. So there is... I imagine that part of the game is going to be actually getting these elevators to activate, and then we'll be able to go back up to the surface and maybe get some new abilities that will allow us to reach areas we haven't been to before. You're still green, so I guess you've no reason to know it, but this is as deep as we go. Once was a time the company dug deeper, but they stopped long before I joined their ranks. The elevator's in a spot of disrepair right now. Sorry to say, you'll have to hoof it back up if you're thinking of heading back. So, for now, we'd have to actually, like, you know, do this if we want to head back. But instead, we actually do completely have the capability to go lower, I believe. Maybe not. I wonder if we can actually break this mud over here by stomping. I don't think we can. No, we can't. Okay. What about this stuff? No. Experimentation, always key to a puzzle game if you want to have chances for survival and any kind of modicum of success, which is fairly rare for me. But by just going up a little ways here, we may be able to actually get ourselves... yeah, there's a new room for us, so we can just push these platforms out and actually access those rooms and see what we've got going on in here. So this is just someone to talk to. This actually doesn't provide us with any benefit. The room design there kind of reminds me of like Fez. And on... Oh, I was going to say, unfortunately, we don't have that platform anymore, but we actually can just jump up this side instead. And is that a door? That's not a door. This is a platform that we can push, though, and we'll see what this room leads on to us. Question mark, question mark, question mark. It's another elevator. So we actually, you know, you can take the elevator down, but you don't really need to. Instead, we can just fall. And this actually sets up our first quest, which might allow you to see that puzzle room that was so tedious for me. What's that? Oh, hi, youngster. Must be a green hoof. Welcome to the mines. This drilling machine's in a bad way. You see that mess up there? A few weeks ago, we dug her into some of these funny purple crates. The explosion was something, I'll say that. I need a part to get her up and running again. Could you rustle up a number 3 camouflage? I think I left one back up in the dig site. Okay, so I believe that actually we might be able to get more quest dialogue if we talk to him. What's that? Doesn't matter. I just need that part. I need that blasted camouflage if and I'm gonna fix this. Okay. As you can tell, my, you know, Yosemite Sam impersonation probably needs a little bit of work if I'm gonna ever go pro with it. So, to kind of pull the veil back and make sure that we all know what's going on with this puzzle, basically, I realize I skipped some gems there. We have to find a boar named Patrick. Patrick is a compulsive kleptomaniac, apparently, and consistently steals things from the mines. So we have to find his stash, and from his stash, get the ingredient. Exploring these old tunnels, you find all kinds of cool places, weird things too. I keep all my stuff in my stash. So this is basically, I think, his way of saying, like, I stole it. Now we're going to try to get it back, which has not worked out very well for me. This is the room where I was very confused about the mechanics and what to do. And I watched another YouTuber's video, I believe it was Dragast, D-R-A-E-G-A-S-T, on Full Bore, and he pretty much got to the same point and was like, I don't know what to do. And I don't blame you, because I don't know what to do either when I get here. So this is the way that we get up to the stash, basically. So we just use Stomp whenever we have to, and we can use it again if we have to, and just sneak up here. And I believe it's that room, but it might be a room that's a little bit further away. We'll check quickly. And I'll show you the gist of the puzzle, but I have had an impossible time trying to solve it. This is not it. This is the dig site. This is another room that has like a weird narrative kind of thing going for it that I won't spoil just in case it ends up being really important. But can we get up this way? We cannot. Let me just drop all the way down here. And I owe it to you to at least show you the puzzle room, because I imagine that's something that is going to be kind of like a fun point, or a finer point of the game if you're the kind of person that is a fan of Full Bore. We need to rewind a little bit there because I effed that up. Thank God for the rewind feature, not making you like reload every single time you make a mistake, by the way. And again, I want to stress that I can understand how people would enjoy this game. I have just found it kind of an inaccessible puzzle platformer for my own kind of like acumen in puzzle games, and that makes it very, very difficult for me to make progress in it. Can I actually, like, it's up there. How did I get up there before? Maybe there's another door in this area that actually puts me out closer to the top. Let's try this out. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Or was actually, let me go back in here. Was there a climb that I missed over here? I think I may have just missed a climb. And again, could be me just being an idiot. I don't necessarily disagree, but I also do think that the game doesn't necessarily communicate pathing very effectively. Yeah, this is definitely the right way. I remember now. So we are going to, since we can mine through stone, or dig through stone, we can just sneak through here and climb over this and basically make a path for ourselves. I think I might have already bunged this up. Maybe not, though. Should be able to make a staircase here. And this will grant us access to a dedicated puzzle chamber, which I have been unable to solve. But if I know my luck on YouTube, when I say I have bad luck, in a video, I usually end up beating the puzzle in like 2 seconds and making my previous self look like an idiot. Actually, we might want to... This might be the completely wrong way to go. I might have wanted to go up instead. Yeah, let's rewind for a second here. So we want this to drop. Maybe not, though. Maybe I'm making my present self look like an idiot because my past self seemed way more capable of actually doing this stuff. The other thing is, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, this looks kind of aimless right now. I don't necessarily disagree with that assumption either. And that is the issue sometimes in a Metroidvania, isn't it? Is that you can sometimes find yourself... Oh, that's how we do it. Okay. You can sometimes find yourself in a position where you don't know what to do. Can we mine this dirt block? Yes, thank God. So then we should be able to push these stone blocks. Yeah, push these stone blocks. Oh, wait, no, we can't push stone blocks. We can only dig them. Okay, 1 second here. I'm an idiot. So... do this. Yeah, that's what you open yourself up to, I think, if you make a Metroidvania. And, you know, Legend of Zelda is, it's not really, I hesitate to say it's a Metroidvania because people are going to fucking freak out, but it is, in some ways, a Metroidvania. You know, if you play something like A Link Between Worlds, you can go to many places, but you can't necessarily do anything in all of those places right off the bat. And that kind of, like, not necessarily aimless wandering, but, you know, wandering with an aim is actually really nice. It's a big part of those games, but, you know, there is sometimes the problem of finding that you just don't know where to go, and I think it's something that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is endemic to the genre, especially if it's not necessarily 100% clear how to actually do things. So this is the room that has been a real tedious one for me so far. The first thing is that a number 3 Samaflange over there? I have no freaking idea. It's a glowing orb. Is this the drill part? I'm assuming so, because if you look at the area that we're in right now on the map, we're in the stash. And what did that guy say? That guy said, you find all sorts of weird things here, I'm hiding them in my stash. So this is where I think I'm supposed to be. To kind of tell you what we have to do here, I have to somehow create a walkable platform, because you can't jump, to be able to vault into that area. I think that's the way you do it. Maybe it's like a Super Metroid style orb that will give me a new ability, which will make it easier for me to reach other areas. I don't know. But I have to make a platform that will make it possible for me to get over there. So, as you might expect, having played, you know, puzzle platformers before in your life, I'm assuming, what I have to do is get to the point where I can actually push a bunch of crates kind of like into spots where they can support other crates, and then we'll make a bridge by doing that that will allow us to make this happen. So, I really, really am bad at this. I can't stress that enough. I wish there was a way to break that block diagonally, but I don't think that's going to be possible. And I will admit that I spend some time when I played the game just kind of probably looking quite aimless. And I apologize for that, but that's also my experience with it so far. So we're going to come here and take this one down, and as those fall, which they will, or they won't, okay. Can we vault up there? We cannot vault up there. Apologies if it's a little dark right now. That's not the game's fault. That's my fault. I've got to figure out just how the heck to actually... Because here's the problem. I can't vault up there, so I can't push this block. And as a result, I can't get over here and make anything happen. So we should probably just rewind this puzzle the whole way. So let's try something a little bit different. Maybe we'll break this block, and then we'll push these out as a pair right off the bat. And we can push them both as a pair again. Oh, they don't go as a pair this time. But I can at least vault up here this time, but then I only end up breaking this block, which doesn't seem that useful. Oh, wait a second. What if we push this block past here? Are the gears starting to fall into place for me here? Then if we break that, this block will fall. And we'll just push this one here. Oh, no, there. Okay. Wait a minute. I think I might be starting to see the matrix here. So we break this one. And then we vault up and push this crate over here. Why? Because we need a space to vault. And then we push this one over. Okay. Now what? Now I think this one has to come down. Oh, you know what? It probably doesn't. We have to put one under it first. How do we put one under it? Seems quite simple at this point. But I think we have to maybe break this block. Will the other dirt block fall on top of it? Oh my god, you guys. I think the prophecy came true. I think I made myself my past self look like a dang fool. Oh no, maybe I didn't, because how am I now going to push this crate all the way over, right? Yeah, that's a doozy right there. I don't think I can get another crate over there on top of it, but that might be the closest I've come. It's always hard to tell in a puzzle platformer whether you're closer or further away, because, you know, anything but the solution is not the solution. But at least that was a little bit more. Oh, you know what? No, I think I totally got it. Yeah, we can just walk over this. I'm an idiot. Alright, so what did this actually give me here? It gave me 1/4 of the D-pad. Maybe that'll give me another new ability. That was suggested in some of the YouTube comments that I saw. That puzzle might look easy. It may actually be easy, but I took an awful lot of time to actually make it happen myself. So maybe we'll actually learn that there's a new power here. Oh, wait, when I went up here, no, it was just the camera moving. What if I use the Y button as rewind, B button as map? Right bumper doesn't seem to do anything. I can't seem to bore through anything else. Well, at the very least, you know, that has tempered my slightly negative impression so far. The fact that I actually managed to solve that puzzle. Oh, we leave like a trail of slime around us now? Is that what happens? What does that trail of slime do? That's a good question. Maybe we don't leave a trail of slime around us. Maybe that's the dirt that left a trail of slime around us. I don't know. Again, it's all a big old confusion ball to me. But yeah, you know, the puzzles are solvable, as you can see. I'm gonna go back to that person that we met earlier and see if maybe this guy doesn't have us doing anything here. Maybe we'll see if we actually did get that piece. If that was an item for us or if that was an ability, I have no idea. We'll come down here and check it out. At the very least, maybe I can finish the first quest, and that makes me at least feel a little bit more qualified to talk about how I feel about the game. So the dig site is down here, and we'll just fall straight down, which is what you do best in this game. And is this the part? I'm gonna assume no. What was that? Doesn't matter. I just need that part. Alright. So, I have no idea what I got there. Maybe it was an important collectible. Maybe it was something that upgrades us. Maybe we can jump now. I'm trying many buttons here, including up on the D-pad. Makes me look up. Looks pretty cute, like a Rocko's Modern Life type thing. Triggers don't seem to do anything. Analog sticks move the camera. Y button is rewind. I don't know. So, I mean, the ever-present problem that I think I've been talking about a lot in the video so far is that I don't necessarily think the game communicates effectively what's happening, what's interactable, what's part of the background, what's part of the actual, you know, elements of the puzzle, etc., etc. The map, I don't know if it necessarily communicates effectively, and there's a case to be made that that's a good thing for minimalism and letting the player kind of flounder and figure it out for themselves, but I have found myself kind of frustrated by it so far. But Full Bore is a game that I could totally see some people enjoying, but I'm not really part of that camp, I would say. That being said, if you want to pick it up, you can pick it up on Steam. Comes out May 6th. If this video is coming out a little bit before that, there will be a link to the Steam store page no matter when this video goes up. You can check it out on Steam if you're interested. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. That helps out a great deal. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.